A story tonight, stakeholders in the oil and gas industry have charged the Ghana National Petroleum Corporation, GNPC, to reconsider its crude oil pricing mechanism. Some participants in the oil and gas pricing forum have raised concerns over the current pricing regime being used by the GNPC and called on it to be more transparent in its crude oil pricing and marketing. There's more in this report.
Various stakeholders of the oil and gas sector have taken part in a forum on crude oil and gas. The issue of GNPC's pricing regime was topical, as many of the participants criticized the strategy adopted by the National Oil Company to price its parcel of crude oil sold on the international market. Chairman of the Public Interest Accountability Committee, PIAC, Steve Mantiao, said there is a need for GNPC to consider hedging its crude oil like other trading companies in the sector.
I think I support much more transparency in the way the price options are exercised. And if it would take a committee to ensure that there is that price option, transparency, and of course I'll be for it. But again, saying that, I'm also mindful of the fact that if you're not careful and you impose on these transactions a certain heavy bureaucracy, there's a way in which we may not be able to also become very efficient in the way we market our crude, because these things are very fluid and evolving by the minute and second, and therefore for a committee to meet before certain decisions are made could also slow the process on our side. So we need to be mindful of that. I think the key concern here is about transparency, the need to let everybody know how we set our price options and when and who is involved and all that. My major concern, really, before coming here, has to do with the tendency to contaminate the whole crude oil trade with transactions, other economic transactions that come to impact on the achieved price. And I'm here referring to, for instance, if you talk about Jubilee, we have the CDB loan in there, and then if you talk about the 10 crude, we have the, the Litasco transactions, some loan agreements, all in there. An aspect of the concern I have has to do with even whether or not, with the Litasco, whether the loan went to Parliament before and duly approved, before embarking on these kinds of transactions.
CEO of the Chamber of Bulk Oil Distributors, Senor Hosi, on his part, says the current system does not support adequate transparency.
One is not to suggest that anything funny is going on, but I'm saying that the systems we have right now do not really promote adequate transparency. We have a problem with the pricing options if you're looking at it from a Ghana angle. If I have 4 options and I am paying possibly about way after all the options expire, and I can rig which option I actually choose, because I'm supposed to choose it 5 days before I lift. Once I can rig that, I can make more money. Within a small group of people, public officials, private officials, whoever it is, we can shortchange the state easily. So there's growing suspicion about the objectivity in the process, which is likely not existent. But let's clean up the suspicion by making sure there's a lot more visibility. So if a pricing option is supposed to be chosen 5 days before time, the whole Ghanaians should know that Unipec has chosen 5 days before time.
In reaction to these concerns, the marketing manager of GNPC, Dennis Baidu, supported the current pricing regime and expressed satisfaction with the current market dynamics the GNPC operates within.
The essence of the forum is to help our numerous stakeholders to fully understand how GNPC markets the Ghana's crude oil and Ghana's natural gas. We report to a host of state agencies and we also collaborate with a lot of state agencies. What you've realized is that some of them really don't have a deep understanding of how we operate.
Other participants were happy with the forum and say it opens up GNPC for healthy criticisms. Fred Duhos report for Joy Business.
Now, the lack of reliable data and low level of documentation on exploratory fields continues to have a negative impact on efforts by government to bargain higher returns from global oil exploration companies. The situation has compelled the Ministry of Energy to conduct a strategic legislative review for the oil and gas industry. The review process, which has begun with stakeholders and industry players, seeks to examine government's new policy to accelerate growth in the sector to help meet its production target of 1 million barrels a day. Here's Energy Minister John Peter Amewu speaking at a stakeholder meeting in Accra.
According to Energy Minister John Peter Amewu, the recent bidding process for some oil blocks in the Western region has not been satisfactory as a result of challenges including gaps in the legislative instrument as well as low quality of data on the blocks. According to him, the consultation is significant as it would help evaluate new strategies for accelerated growth of the oil and gas industry to make room for the country's existing regulatory framework and practices.
Our basins, as you are all aware, are largely not completely de-risked. Significant data gaps and low data quality still exist. And many companies continue to cite our fiscal regimes as a disincentive to attract global fund of capital for investment. The recent results of our first licensing round, although not satisfactory in terms of the response rate, has confirmed the fears about developing the industry and the risks associated with the frontier areas.
He, however, stated that there was the need for new initiatives to harness the great potentials in the sector for win-win arrangements and noted current laws do not favor the growth agenda of the government.
Our medium target of 500,000 barrels and a long-term target of 1 million barrels is still achievable. The strategy will pave way for review of our existing regulatory framework and practices. The old ways of doing things will no longer become visible. This will include the development of new regulations and amendment of some of the provisions. This change will ensure that the regulations are aligned to our policies and strategies. Laws must be informed by policies and strategies and not the other way around. Therefore, with an evolving industry and changing policies, our laws must be effectively responsive to the dynamics.
The workshop was to lay bare the ministry's vision of a way forward in the industry and gather the views of other participants to inform and solicit inputs to review and align the framework of the industry to the objectives of a sector. Ebenezer Sabute's report for Joy Business.
Now, Tullow Oil says it has brought an end to works that have finally corrected challenges with the Jubilee FPS retired bearing. The equipment, which is used in extracting oil from the seabed, has been under maintenance, resulting in the shutdown of oil production on the Jubilee field. This impacted on oil production, tax payment and power production in the country. Paul McDade is Group Chief Executive of Tullow Oil.
The challenges we had on Jubilee, we've closed the page and now Jubilee is stable and up and running. What you should be aware of is the recent shutdown in 10 was a planned shutdown. It was a maintenance shutdown. We do roughly every 2 years. We shut the facility down for 10 days or 12 days to safely check the maintenance, check the facilities and make sure they continue as fit for purpose. That's a critical part of looking after your assets so that they are there in 10 years' time and 20 years' time and operating just as efficiently then as they are now. So that recent shutdown was actually a planned maintenance shutdown. And what you'll see is we, every couple of years we'll shut the facility down to do that maintenance.
For the turret bearing issue, we've closed the page. Yeah,
on Jubilee, we've now got the vessel spread moored, and the turret is, Quickie was saying, is stabilised and it's back to normal operations on Jubilee.
So we should be excited.
I think I'm always excited here. I mean, I think what's exciting is the high level of production that we're seeing from offshore. Over 170,000 barrels a day. And as I say, we're driving to see if we can get it up towards our target of 180.
Away from oil and gas, Managing Director of Zenith Bank, Henry Oroy, is confident of improved tax compliance if the GRA adopts new e-platform methods of tax payment. Speaking at the maiden edition of the Zenith SMEs and Corporates Breakfast Forum, Mr. Oroy stated that the financial sector is ready to help improve on compliance in the country.
Zenith Bank Ghana is partnering the Ghana Revenue Authority (GRA) to ensure tax compliance in the country. At the maiden edition of the Zenith SMEs and Corporate Breakfast Forum, Managing Director for Zenith Bank, Henry Oro, says the move is to make tax collection very easy and flexible to penetrate the informal sector through the bank's e-platform services.
We are doing a lot in this regard with the GRA. Been quite a lot of reforms in recent times, and we know that in the last 2 years, critical around this reform is the digitization plan of the GRA, where the GRA tend to make collection of tax very easy and very accessible to the taxpayer. And Zenith, along those lines, because we are built on a digital platform, Zenith is an e-bank, and we run most of our operations through the e-platform.
Meanwhile, Commissioner General of the GRA, Emmanuel Kofi Nti, revealed that new tax reforms targeting the informal sector will also help improve upon tax compliance.
These reforms are meant to motivate and encourage the private sector to thrive, to be able to contribute the appropriate tax revenues to the state to push our development agenda. It has always been said that the private sector is the engine of growth in this country. I am inclined to believe that the theme for this breakfast forum, empowering the private sector to maximize revenue through compliance with Ghana's tax reforms, is in line with the statement that the private sector is the engine for growth. It is therefore very apt and appropriate. I wish to draw your attention to the mission of Ghana Revenue Authority, which is to mobilize revenue for national development in a transparent, fair, effective, and efficient manner.
The Zenith SMEs and Corporate Breakfast Forum focused on tax compliance for successful business operations. It was also themed empowering the private sector to maximize revenue through compliance with Ghana's tax reforms.
Now, shareholders of Unilever Ghana are getting dividends of 0.80 Ghana cedis per share after the company recorded strong performance for 2018. Edward Ifa is the board chairman of Unilever Ghana Limited. He declared the dividends and was approved by shareholders at the company's 45th annual general meeting held in Accra.
Unilever Ghana Limited results for the year ended 31st December 2018 showed a revenue growth of 10% from Ghana cedi 575 million in 2017 to 632 million in 2018, mostly due to an increase in volume sold. Operating profit before tax was 250 million cedis, representing a 283% increase over 2017 65 million. Profit after tax therefore improved by 296% to 191 million compared to 48 million in 2017. Included in the operating profit for the year is an amount of 89 million being profit on disposal of the spreads business, which was disposed of in 2018, and a reversal of management and technical services fees provision amounting to 111 million cedis. Dividend. The Board of Directors hereby propose a dividend payout of 80 Ghana pesos per share from the 2018 profits, amounting in total to 50 million Ghana cedis.
All right, let's get some updates on how the stock market closed today, plus information on the decision of shareholders of Unilever to pay 80 pesos per share following the impressive performance for 2018. Joining us via Skype is Edem Poku. First, tell us, Edem, how the market closed today.
Thank you. For this week's market, we've had 4 gainers and 1 decliner. Ecobank Ghana was up 70 pesos to 7 cedis 50 pesos. That's a gain of about 10.3%. Ecobank Transnational was also up 2 pesos to 14 Ghana pesos. MTN was up by a peso to 73 pesos, and GCB Bank was also up by a peso to 5 cedis 2 pesos. The decliner for the week was Cal Bank, which declined by 2 pesos to 80 Ghana pesos. Consequently, the Ghana Stock Exchange's composite index was down 1.72%, while our DSI 20 index, which tracks the 20 most liquid stocks on the market, was down by 0.88%. At the end of the week, we've seen about 1.26 million shares trading on the exchange across 20 counters, and these trades were valued at about 1.06 million Ghana cedis.
Okay, three things I'm interested in. What is happening with Carl Bank? What's been reaction to the fact that Unilever is giving a dividend of 80 pesos to shareholders? And what about Gual? It's been quite a remarkable week for them as well.
Right, so with regards to Unilever, they are paying out a dividend of 80 pesos, and it's in two parts. The first 30 pesos will be paid out on 24th June. But shareholders who actually have owned the share as at 15th May 2019 will be the ones to actually have access to these shares. The other 50 Ghana pesos will be paid later in the year. What we know now is it will be paid in the fourth quarter of this year. Now going down to Gual, Gual will also be paying their dividend on the 25th of June 2019, and also only shareholders who are in their books as at 20th May will have access, will actually be eligible for the payment of this dividend. The dividend is 0.042 Ghana cedis per share.
All right, and so how is the next week looking like?
So going into next week, we are looking at MTN and GCB gaining some pesos on the market. It appears there's some demand for these stocks on the market. Also, we are expecting Enterprise Group and Access Bank to decline next week. We are seeing some selling pressures, and the bids that are coming in are currently lower than what's actually on the market now.
Great. I was asking about Carl Bank and what's happening, why we're seeing the decline in shares.
So, well, I think it's basically the demand and supply side. It is net offered on the market, so which basically means that the volumes of shares which are offered for sale is currently more than what investors actually want to buy and at the price they want to buy it.
All right. Thanks very much for the update. We had researcher at Databank, Adam Pokuda, updating us on the stock market performance this week. Let's move on to some other news tonight. President of the Institute of Chartered Accountants, Ghana, Professor Kwame Adom-Frimpong, says accurate financial information is required for government's decision-making. He urges government institutions to provide the relevant data needed to impact on their work. He was speaking to Joy Business when executives of the ICAG paid a call on the Chief Imam, Sheikh Nuhu Shaributu, at his residence as part of this year's Accountants Week celebration, which commences tomorrow, May 25.
Main role is to provide financial information to the government in decision making. And the information you provide, you have to ensure that the information is accurate. The information should be able to give the government the insight of the financial resources we have in the country, so that if anything, the government can take a decision concerning about the finances of the country. Moreover, the main revenue of the government is taxation, and the taxes are collected from people. So for government to be accountable to public, they need to provide a statement, account statement, so that at least public could know how taxes which are being collected by government are being used, whether it's efficient or not efficient. Our role is to make sure that we train the accountants in Ghana so that they will be efficient, resourceful, so that everything we do in Ghana, we are not going to bring accountants from outside to come and look after our money or our financial resources for us. We are building everything in Ghana here. So the Institute of Chartered Accountants, that's why we are being established to regulate the accountancy and also the train accountants by themselves instead of going for a foreigner to come and have control over our financial resources.
Institute of Chartered Accountants Ghana, Kwesi Ajman, underscored the importance of accountants in the country, especially in an era where government wants to move beyond aid. He says every venture will be sustainable if accountants are equipped with accurate and timely information. The theme for this year's Accountants Week celebration is efficient service delivery in the public sector, the role of the accountant.
The accountant is the gatekeeper. In taking any business decision, people need information. You need information that is accurate, that is timely, and that would actually help in the decision making. The accountant plays that role. For the accountant to be effective, the accountant has to be equipped with the principles involved in accounting. The accountant has to be equipped with properly analyzing information and advising on the information, not just advising and also reporting the information. We as accountants or the institute, what we seek to do always to equip our members with the necessary skills, with the necessary knowledge, with the necessary ethical standards, so that we can be able to be meaningful to society, we can be able to be meaningful in the decision maker and also to protect the public purse. As accountants, if we play our role and we play it well, every venture will be sustainable. Every venture will be able to stand test of time. And when it happens that way, every activity will yield the necessary results. And if you are doing it and doing it well with proper methodical principles, then you realize that every entity will stand. And if every entity is standing, we will be able to meet our targets, we will be able to meet the expectation. And then we can live without, relying on anybody in the country.
You're watching Business Live. In a few days' time, sometime next week, we'll be having the Joy Business Health and Wellness Trade Show. It will be taking place at the National Theatre. That's from the 30th of May to the 1st of June. Well, as we always do, we're bringing you our health tip for today.
Welcome to today's Joy Business Health and Wellness Tip. Let's learn more about gynecologists. Menstrual problems, contraception, sexuality, menopause, and infertility issues are diagnosed and treated by a gynecologist. Gynecologists are also sometimes certified as obstetricians and will monitor the health of the mother and the fetus during pregnancy. The Joy Business Health and Wellness Tip is brought to you by New Crystal Health Services Limited, growing together in good health.
Wrapping up on Business Live tonight. Thanks for watching, everyone. There's more news on our website, joybusinessnews.com. We've got the latest news there, including court ordering arbitration on Unibank. We've got what is also big on Joy Business. I guess it's on the oil and gas sector. 6 oil exploration blocks are for grabs in Voltaire Basin. You can read more about it during the weekend till when we come your way on Monday with another edition of Business Live. My name is Darryl Kwal. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.